this this video we discuss how to remove cylinder cover, and these are all the things you need to do before starting the job. So first thing that we need to do is we have to close the control air and spring air for the system, and this system is for fuel oil line and one for exhaust valve. So once you close, you drain the line. This is what we are doing now. This valve you can see next to the emergency console station. You can see the valve listed over the board. You can identify the valve according to the valve drawing which is given in this nameplate. And next thing is you need to close the fuel valve, and the main thing that you need to do when isolating the fuel valve is you have to remove the handle of the fuel valve. That is for a safety purpose, because accidentally it should not get opened. And then you can see all the tools, all the spanners, other tools which are essential to do the job has been kept ready before one day only. So now we are going to start the opening of cylinder cover. So what are all the things that we need to do that we can see? First, one team will be opening the exhaust gas side manifold, and one team will be opening the lube oil pipe, high pressure pipes and cooling water pipes. So that the main idea is you don't keep any person who is involved in decarb job be free, and they all will be engaged and your job will be done without any delay. The thing is, when you are working in container ship, it is all very less time which we get at port. So with that time we have to complete the job. So for performing the decarb job, planning is very important, and how you organize people is very important. So one team is opening the exhaust manifold and the other team is opening the lube oil high pressure pipe and fuel oil high pressure pipes. So first the exhaust manifold bolts has been removed, and the reason why we kept the belt is you have to remove the exhaust manifold from the place and keep it secured on the other side. So for lifting this you will be using the engine room crane for safety purpose. And now we are going to remove the lube oil high pressure pipe. Remove both the side of the bolt, both the exhaust side and the bottom side bolts to be removed. And how to take it out? You just need to use two screwdrivers, one from each end. Just push from outside. You can take the, you use minus screwdriver, just push, give a push, and the entire thing will come out. So once the lube oil high pressure comes out, just you need to turn it. You don't need to remove the high pressure pipe from place and secure it somewhere. It is okay. You can just keep the pipe free on the other side so that it don't disturb you. Next thing is you have to open the fuel oil high pressure pipes. You don't need to remove the fuel valves, because if you are using the same cylinder cover, you don't need to remove the fuel valve. But you have to remove the starting air valve, because if you are not removing the starting air valve, you will find difficulties in fixing the hydraulic jack. So that is what we are doing now. We are removing the high pressure pipe, and one team is using the crane to lift the exhaust side. One thing that you need to notice, sometimes what happens is you may find difficulties in opening any of the bolts, because most of the time these bolts are exposed to high temperature. So what you can do is you can give a small lift and start easing up the bolt, and the bolt can be easily opened. So that is what we are doing now. We are trying to just little bit lift the exhaust manifold and try to open the bolt which got stuck. That is what we are doing. A little lift can help us to remove the exhaust side bolt. So that is what we are doing. Crane should be kept straight when you are doing any lifting job. So one team is, as I said earlier, they are working on the exhaust valve. The other team will be working on the cylinder cover accessories removing job. That means like cooling water pipes, fuel oil pipes, lube oil pipes, starting air valves, all those things. Because main job which get stuck is will be the exhaust manifold side, because most of the time the bolts will be very hard to open, so it takes little bit long time. So always dedicate 2% to do the opening of that job. So in the other side, one person is engaged to remove all the hydraulic nut covers and clean the hydraulic thread area and buff it. So actually, whenever we are planning to do this decarb job, we used to do this cleaning of hydraulic nut one day before only, but this unit is unplanned, so we didn't do that. We are doing while performing this job, so we take some additional time to do that. It don't take much time, but it will take some time. So we are removing all the covers, stud cover, and we have to clean the thread area and the hydraulic jack seating area. So the idea why we clean the thread is, if some carbon deposits or any impurities is found in way of thread, then it may give trouble while jacking operation. So that is why we are cleaning the thread and seating surface of hydraulic jack. So before lifting the exhaust manifold, just put a marking so that while you are fixing back, you don't find trouble in aligning the bolts. So that is what we are doing now. So some the cooling water connection we are removing from that area. That means valve handle we are removing, because accidentally it should not get opened, because if it opened, cooling water may spray and can cause injury. So okay, we are almost done. All the bolts for the exhaust side is removed, and now next challenge is taking the exhaust manifold from the slot, because we need to handle the exhaust manifold in such a way it should come out of that space easily. So just push on one side, you will get the manifold out. On the other side, one team is working on removing high pressure pipe. So parallelly both the jobs are running, and one team is already working on the bottom platform by keeping the platform inside the crankcase for people to enter, and the door is already kept opened. Enclosed space permit was been done, and it is totally kept fan and all. So okay, okay, so still we are struggling to take the exhaust manifold out, because as I said, it is little bit tricky to take that thing out. So we are managing to take it anyway. We will take that out, not a problem. Okay, because sometimes what happens is it gets stuck in way of both the flanges. So here what we do is we don't connect only one part, we disconnect the entire part of the exhaust manifold, so that while fixing it don't give you any problem. And I had already shown how to remove the high pressure pipe for main engine. That is the reason I'm not concentrating on how to open the high pressure pipe job. So if you want, I will give a link of how to remove the high pressure pipes. And yes, we are almost about to take the exhaust manifold out. Okay, so we need two people because this exhaust manifold is really very heavy, because you have to find the angle and have to push in some way. That is what we are getting stuck. Okay, anyway, again we are trying to give a push, and I believe this time we will take this exhaust manifold out. Yes, yeah, we are done with it. And while lifting up, always be very careful, because sometimes this exhaust manifold should pass through some sensors. It should not hit any sensor or any valves, so be careful while lifting the exhaust manifold. Okay, so this is what I said. I didn't open only the damper. I removed the entire flange to flange, so that it don't give you problem when you are boxing it up back, because always if you remove only the damper, you will find difficulties in fitting back, and if you remove the entire thing, you don't find difficulties in fixing back. And that is one thing that we need to keep in mind. So okay, so now the exhaust manifold is out. Next thing is we have to keep it secured somewhere and focus on the next job. So here in this engine room we have two cranes, so we have the possibility to use both the crane, and we can reduce the work hours. So again, before the day you start the job, before starting the job, always try to always check the operation of engine room crane, because engine room crane plays a major role in doing decarb jobs. So next thing is we are opening the high pressure pipe, and this engine is big engine, so it got 3 fuel valves. So we are removing all 3. No need to remove the fuel valves, only the high pressure pipe is okay. Just remove the high pressure pipe, that's all. So when we are doing this decarb job, always ensure no manpower is kept idle. If you keep any idle manpower, then you are losing time and you are increasing the job time. Now we are opening the cooling water line, which is connected to the cylinder cover, and one member is opening the cover of nut. So once the cooling water line will be removed, we have to remove the exhaust means lube oil return line also. Just we are opening that. So idea is all the connections which is related to fuel oil and lube oil and air, water, which is connected to cylinder cover and exhaust valve, should be removed. That's all. Once that is removed, your 20% of the job is completed. So okay, this is the return line for lube oil, and this line has a connection in the bottom also, so you have to loosen the bottom nut and you have to remove the pipe, because this pipe you cannot turn because you got a U clamp in it. so you have to remove the entire pipe outside. So, and it got some supporting angles also, like you can see an angle which is protruded here. That angle you have to remove, because all this angle will obstruct you when you are fitting your hydraulic jack. So you can see the pipe is already taken out and kept side, and one side cooling water pipe is being disconnected, and okay, as I said, whichever line which is connected to cylinder cover and exhaust valve should be removed. So next thing is getting ready with the hydraulic jack. So this is the hydraulic jack which is ready to lift. It is already connected to crane. Just we need to lift and fix it, and before fixing that, just clean the hydraulic nut threads and the surface area. Use buffing machine and clean it. Use some WD-40 to ease it up. That's all. So okay, we are in way of fixing the hydraulic jack. In this engine, you can carry both the hydraulic jack, but you cannot fix both hydraulic jack at the time. We tried to fix it, but we couldn't able to make it out. So it is always advisable to fix one by one. So you can see our member is getting ready with the hydraulic stud thread cleaning and the surface cleaning. So once this is done, we are ready to fix the hydraulic nut. So okay, we are done with this. Next, you fix the hydraulic jack in place. All the studs, all the surface should be properly cleaned. Don't hesitate to do this job. This will really save you a lot of time when you are using the hydraulic jack. Now we are going to fix the hydraulic jack and open cylinder cover nut, and I'm not going to focus a lot in telling how to open hydraulic nut by using hydraulic jack, because I had shown in so many videos. I will give a link of how to open and close a nut with the help of hydraulic jack. I will keep the link in description. If you don't understand it, you can follow that link also, and I will try to make a video on how to open nut with the help of this kind of jack. Again, I will show it in another video, because this video will take more than 20-25 minutes, and that is the reason I am not concentrating on hydraulic jack part, because most of the time we are explaining the concept in the generator videos, and we had done in so many videos also. But anyway, I will make one separate video for this. So be careful when you are fixing the jacks, because the jack should be in place and the surface should be properly matched. That should be the idea. So I told you some connections will affect the fixing of jack. So it happened now, that's why we are removing that angle. So this kind of engines, massive engines, have jack stand also, and now these jacks are very heavy, and it is little bit hard to handle the jacks. So it is always advisable to use crane to lift the jack. Always use the crane to lift the jack because these jacks are very heavy. So that's all. Now we are in progress of fixing the jacks. So once the jacks are fixed, we'll use the hydraulic pump to open the nuts. Okay. Now you must have known why, the reason why I say that stud bolt thread should be cleaned, because when we are threading the hydraulic jack, if the threads are clean, it will be very easy to thread it. If there is any deposit like carbon deposit impurities in way of thread, then you will find problem in tightening the jacks, and that is the reason I always say we need to clean the thread area to install the jacks before installing the jacks. So okay, so we are done with installing one side of hydraulic jack. The other side also we are going to install now. So why I am showing this video is because if we try to fix both the jack stand at a time, you will get stuck because of the exhaust valve actuator will come in middle, and you cannot reach the jacks, can't reach the bolt area, and that is the reason I told we cannot lift both jack stand at a time. We can lift, but we cannot fix it in place with two jacks in the crane. Okay, so the other side piston preparation is going on, just cleaning of piston is going on, and one side the opening of hydraulic nut is going on. So all hoses, I always say, check the hoses, check the conditions of hoses before starting the hydraulic pump, because if the hoses are damaged, it can get fracture, and high pressure oil can damage and causes personal injury. So to avoid this, please check the high pressure pipes, means your hydraulic pipes, hydraulic hoses. Okay, so we are done. All hoses are in place, all 8 nuts are connected with the hydraulic hose and ready to take opening pressure. For this nut, the opening pressure is almost 1800 nm, 1800 bar. So it is very high pressure, and that is the reason I say you don't be careless when using the hydraulic hose. Be very careful, because these hoses are handling very high pressure, and do not repair the hose if there is any damage, fracture in the hose. Don't try to put some tapes and all, because that is totally useless. It will again lead to some kind of injuries. So to avoid this, don't do that. So all fixing up of jacks is in place, hoses in place. Next thing, we'll use the hydraulic jack to pressurize and open the nut. Okay, for handling this nut, it is always preferable to keep three people to do the job, because this cylinder cover has almost 8, I think 8 or 10, I think 8, yeah, it got 8 nuts. So one person should be in the rear side and 2 on port starboard, so that when you want to open it, it can be done quickly. Okay, so we are done with this fit up of hydraulic jack, and next is to pressurize. Just pressurize with the help of pump, and once the pressure is achieved, then you can open the hydraulic jack. You can see hydraulic jacks can lift up if the pressure is going high. Okay, so now the opening of hydraulic jack is done already. Next thing is we have to unscrew. You can see okay, so we are done. So after removing the nuts, next you need to fit the lifting eye on top of exhaust valve, and thus that lifting eye is it should be properly connected with the crane, and then you can lift the cylinder cover. While you are lifting the cylinder cover, lift the crane very slowly. Very slowly means very slowly, so that it don't shake or it don't hit anywhere, because if it starts to swing, we cannot control the movement because it is very heavy. Another thing is, when you are opening, when you are lifting, if you are lifting slowly, if something gets stuck, you can easily identify and it don't break. Before that itself, we can do the needful. If you are going very fast, because of the crane power, if any connection is left without noticing, it may get broken. So that is the reason why I say you have to lift the cylinder cover very slowly. You can see the cylinder cover is swinging. If you lift it fast, it swings more and it can hit the nearby pipes or nearby sensors. So now we take the cylinder cover along with the exhaust valve and bring it and keep it in the cylinder cover stand. So I believe this video must have given you some clear information about how to remove the cylinder cover for doing decarb jobs. So this is part 2, where we do the removal of cylinder cover, and next this is a little bit critical operation where it has to go inside the stand. So operate the crane very carefully, and your hands when you are holding the cylinder cover should be very careful, because the weight of the cylinder cover is so huge. If it hits, or if your hand get caught in between the cylinder cover and stand, it will lead to heavy injury. So that is what we have to take care when fixing the cylinder cover in place. So always be careful while doing this kind of job. So I believe this video must have given you some information about main engine decarb job. This is part 2. The next we will go is part 3, which will be removal of piston. Thanks for watching. Thank you all. If you have any comment or any doubt, please put in comment box. Definitely I will reply you. Okay, now we are in way of fixing the cylinder cover in its stand. Okay, the job is done. It is already in place. Thank you all. Thanks for watching.